Welcome to The Know. I'm Ashley Jenkins.
I'm John Reisinger.
Tired of Pikachu shit and wish that you hadn't spent so much money buying Pokeballs for Pokemon Go? Well, maybe it's time you took your gripes straight to the top.
First, No Man's Sky is under investigation for false advertising, and now Pokemon Go is being reported to the federal government for bad business practices.
Oh boy, when games go down, they go down hard. A couple of months ago, No Man's Sky and Pokemon Go were all anybody could talk about, and now everyone's just turned on them.
Don't fuck with the gamers. We've got reports that upset Pokemon Go players, or victims, as many of them believe themselves, have filed complaints with the US government. New documents reveal 72 separate filings, all sent to the Federal Trade Commission, the government agency in place to advocate for consumers.
These documents were obtained by Polygon thanks to a Freedom of Information Act request filed by the outlet, which now gives us all the collective pleasure of pointing and laughing at even more chaos caused by Niantic's mobile game and money printer.
Yeah, it's never gonna end. Of the 72 complaints, 16 of them are directed at Nintendo and the Pokemon Company, while the remaining are aimed at Niantic themselves. They actually cover a wide range of issues from players grumpier than Snubbles, including the games. There's a lot of really bad Pokemon jokes in this. Some are gonna make it to the cut and some are not. Including the game's microtransactions, privacy concerns, server issues, and criticisms that it's not safe for children.
As for whether or not this is going to lead to more serious consequences for the game's developers, probably not, although the jury is still out on that one, because there are a lot of things that go into complaints like this, but we'll get a little bit more into that later.
Most of the complaints filed to the FTC had to do with the game's microtransactions, according to Polygon. One player, for instance, wrote that after spending $450 in Pokemon Go...
Okay, well
That's where you went wrong.
This individual spent $450 in Pokemon Go. Let's just start there.
You should go play Pokemon. After his account was banned when Niantic did its big sweep of third-party access from the game, which resulted in him losing all of what he'd spent. When he filed his complaint with the FTC, he requested to have his money returned or his account reinstated so he could continue to play.
So, wait, hold on, let me get this straight.
So he spent all that money and then cheated?
$500 and then, yeah.
I mean, I cheated too.
Because, using a third-party tracker wasn't the problem. It was if you were using cheating stuff, or
like GPS,
spoofing your GPS, like all that kind of stuff. So
I didn't do that.
I mean, I didn't even know it was possible to spend that much money in Pokemon Go.
Yeah.
That purging of third-party access was a pretty big sticking point for the game's player base. Early last month, they restricted hugely popular apps like Pokevision from reading their API, which at the time made Pokemon virtually impossible to track because they'd already broken their own tracker. It was rough.
Right around then is when the player population started to plummet. It wasn't exactly a popular decision.
Yeah,
it also
you could say
just
that.
made the game not fun.
Moving on to other gripes and accusations consumers have hurled against Pokemon Go at the FTC, we have privacy, specifically related to the location of Pokemon gyms and their proximity to some residences.
One consumer wrote in that Pokemon Go players had been showing up to their house in droves despite nobody at the property having opted into the game. The angered consumer said it even caused them anxiety to the point of physical intervention from Life Alert.
That's a literal heart attack waiting to happen. Another complaint came from an Oregon hospital who was sick of having players trying to take pictures and access private areas of the facility.
Who's taking pictures?
No one needed pictures to play Pokemon Go. Just so you know, that's probably not what they were doing, but I guess they have a really great understanding of what the game was.
Yeah.
They said of Pokemon Go's nuisance, we're a small hospital in Oregon, and Nintendo Pokemon Go players are descending on our halls and asking to go into private areas to take pictures and get their game points. Yeah.
That's the game. That's the two things that the game does well.
Gotta catch all them.
Is the picture taking and the points gaming. And last but not least, other filings had to do with the safety of children. One consumer reported, "I almost killed a child today who was riding his bike and veered into the roadway holding his cell phone up."
They went on to say, this has to be one of the most unsafe products out. Not only for those who purchased it, but for those who have not and may get in a car accident because of someone else playing it. Please get this product off the market ASAP. Exclamation point, exclamation point, exclamation point. Oh my God, is that 4 exclamation points? Before children are killed, is that 1, 2, is that 6, 7 exclamation points?
We all know the Pokemon Go hasn't exactly been the safest product ever, which has led to a great deal of global scrutiny. Last month, 2 pedestrians were killed in 2 separate instances in Japan that were related to Pokemon Go and driving. And in California, lawmakers have been seeking to get a law on the books that would add apps like Pokemon Go to the list of things that are illegal to do while driving.
A recent national study by JAMA Internal Medicine found that the numbers of people playing and driving during Pokemon Go are even scarier than you think. And you already imagine they're pretty scary, right? It was revealed that in just the 9 days after Pokemon Go's launch, there were over 340,000 tweets about people driving and playing. And that's just the people who were talking about it.
Yeah, that's the people who were, not smart enough to be quiet about it. So, of course, the big question is whether or not these 72 filings with FTC are going to amount to any kind of problems for Niantic. Obviously, 72 isn't much at all compared to the millions that are currently playing the game, although Pokemon Go is a high-profile name that's been making plenty of headlines, which might cause FTC to give a little bit of attention.
And considering the types of things the FTC does, it would actually be a much bigger deal if they decided to move forward with an investigation than what's currently going on with No Man's Sky, for example, with their whole false advertising snafu. The ASA, in No Man's Sky's case, isn't there to sue companies and create new laws, but the FTC is.
So it's sort of hard to place where Pokemon Go would fall on their radar. They sued Bed Bath & Beyond last year for $500K for something as simple as inaccurate product descriptions on their website.
But judging by how much of the complaints received by the FTC fall well within guidelines that are already covered by Pokemon Go's terms of service, it's unlikely that this would turn into some kind of crazy lawsuit or federal case against Niantic. Being aware of your surroundings and the prohibition of third-party apps are both mentioned in the terms of service, for instance. Also, if you're driving and you're being a distracted driver, that's on you, man.
Now, in terms of privacy and gyms, there might be a bit of a concern, but that's something Niantic has already been fixing throughout the game's life cycle and probably wouldn't warrant any specific government intervention.
Yeah, still, it's crazy to see just how far this game has gone in a few short months and how even lawmakers are being asked to monitor the effect it's had on consumers everywhere. Let's just hope they're not too busy playing it themselves to keep doing their job.
Yeah.
Although, that's not likely.
Because no one's playing it. What do you guys think of Pokemon Go players reporting the game to the US government? Let us know in the comments.
And for more updates on whatever insane thing happens with Pokemon Go next, because more are no doubt on the way. Like this video and subscribe to The Know. Uncle Samosaur, we choose you! Man,
That was a bad joke.
Yeah, it was terrible. I'm sorry, I'm already ashamed of myself.
That texting game is the most dangerous game out there.
Please.
The one where you text people with
Oh
messages app and everything. It's a menace.